What if I told you that the jobs shaping Toledo's next decade are already moving in? I'm Garrett Luhring, host of Moving to Toledo with Danbury Realtors and the Luxian Home Team, and today we're looking at the biggest employers in Toledo, who's growing, and what that means for you if you're planning to live, work, or move here. Make sure to like this video and subscribe. We cover lots of neighborhood, real estate, and employment insight around Northwest Ohio that you'll want if you're planning your future here. So, why are so many people starting to talk about Toledo in terms of job growth again? It's not just old manufacturing anymore. There are health systems, education, automotive, even renewables and tech pushing big changes. In this video, we'll cover who the current largest employers are in Toledo and Northwest Ohio, major upcoming developments that could reshape the job market, what industries to watch, good and risky ones, what these shifts mean for you, whether you're relocating, changing careers, or just want stability. And by the end, you'll have a much clearer sense of whether Toledo is a place with growing opportunity and whether those opportunities match what you and your family need. So let's start by looking at today's biggest employers in the region who employs thousands, who influence the local economy, and how stable those jobs are. Some of the biggest and the most influential right now, let's start with ProMedica Health Systems. Healthcare is massive here, and ProMedica is top of the heap. In Northwest Ohio, they employ around 15,000 people. We also have Mercy Health, which is large, with about 8,800 employees in Lucas County. Healthcare overall has been one of the more stable sectors, even during economic shifts. We have the University of Toledo, which has education and research, several thousand jobs tied to the university, plus its medical campus with about 5,700 jobs in the region. Whirlpool Corporation offers advanced manufacturing, which plays a big role. Whirlpool employs over 6,000 employees in Northwest Ohio. FCA US LLC, now part of Stellantis, which is automotive manufacturing, also has a massive legacy in our area. They employ over 6,000 people at the Toledo complex. However, this sector is currently undergoing volatile changes, including recent production cuts and layoffs at the local Jeep plant, which highlights the pressure this industry is under. We have Toledo Public Schools and Toledo City Schools. This is a big employer in the education sector. And on top of these big names, we have Libby Glass, Owens Corning, the Andersons, various manufacturers, healthcare, logistics as well. So that gives you a picture. Healthcare, education, automotive manufacturing, and some goods logistics are the pillars. Now let's talk about what's coming, what's already underway or in planning that could shift the landscape. Here we have an innovation hub with glass and solar tech. In 2024, Toledo was designated the first innovation hub in Ohio, with investments planned in glass, solar technologies, partnering industry and universities to push research and advanced manufacturing forward. We have our trade industrial parks, for example, the Toledo Trade Center in North Toledo. There are speculative industrial buildings being built, which means companies can move in without waiting to build. This means potential new jobs in manufacturing, warehouse, light industrial sectors, and so on. There's the Spicer Dana building revitalization, a historic manufacturing building being revamped of over 400,000 square feet to accommodate industrial, light assembly, and warehousing. That project will bring more industrial jobs, improved infrastructure, and more. There's GM's Toledo Propulsion Facility, which has made headlines recently. While GM initially announced a massive investment to transition the plant to produce EV components, they have since pivoted away completely, removing the EV tooling and increasing production of internal combustion engine transmissions due to current market demands. This move reflects both the powerful legacy of auto manufacturing here and the real-time volatility of the entire industry's transition to electric. Toledo has also seen new investments from firms like Mobis North America, building battery assembly plants and so on. These show the region is also pushing into EV and related supply chains. But as always, there are trade-offs, risk, and things to be cautious about. Here are some of the challenges that come with these employer and industry trends. Some of the older manufacturing is under pressure. EV conversion, cost of materials, global supply chain disruption. Jobs that were steady under old models may require new skills or risk decline. We're also seeing gaps between skills and workforce readiness as newer employers demand tech, clean energy, precision manufacturing skills. The question is whether the local workforce has been trained for those or can be. If not, there may be a mismatch between what jobs are available and who can fill them in the area. Also, looking at the infrastructure and site availability, even though Toledo is planning industrial parks and revitalizing old buildings, sometimes the infrastructure, meaning the roads, utilities, zoning, takes time. Not every site is ready. This can delay jobs and even discourage some companies from moving into the area. We're also seeing competition, not just from inside Ohio, but from other parts of the country. Regions are competing for manufacturing, battery plants, health system expansions, and so on. Tax incentives, energy costs, labor costs all matter. Toledo has strengths: location, lower costs, existing manufacturing base, but it also needs to stay sharp if it wants to continue to compete. Toledo is also seeing some wage and benefit pressure in healthcare and education, especially. Costs are rising, staffing shortages, inflation, benefit expectations may strain budgets. As employers grow, employees will expect more, and some employers may struggle to keep up. Now, let's dive deeper and see how these employers impact everyday life, what it means realistically for someone moving here, and which sectors look safer or more promising. If you're moving to Toledo or Northwest Ohio, healthcare offers strong opportunity. ProMedica, Mercy, universities like Toledo tend to provide stable jobs, better benefits, and often have less risk of outsourcing than manufacturing. If you're in manufacturing or want to get into it, there are still lots of opportunities. But many of these jobs now require higher technical skills, possibly robotics, automation, etc. Traditional manufacturing with limited tech may be less reliable going forward. In our area, education jobs still continue to matter a bunch, but budgeting for schools, local taxes are going to play a big role in this moving forward. For younger workers or those considering tech adjacency, maybe work at a manufacturer but in software or control systems, battery tech, Toledo is showing promise. The innovation hub and new battery plants are good indicators that tech and manufacturing are blending well here. So you may be asking, which employers seem more stable and promising? Well, ProMedica and Mercy seem safe. Healthcare tends to weather recessions better. Also, aging population increases health demand overall. Looking at automotive and EV supply chain, these look promising if the local companies can pivot. GM's facility changes, Mobis coming in, etc. If Toledo can position itself in the EV battery, transmission, tech, auto components business, there may be long-term growth here. Looking at manufacturers like Owens Corning, who are changing to more sustainable products, seem to also be well positioned in this market. Also, warehouse, logistics, distribution may all grow as well, especially as Toledo is well located for transport. Think the interstates and the port on Lake Erie. But on the flip side, purely low margin manufacturing without tech may be riskier. Also, businesses heavily dependent on fossil fuel supply chains may face headwinds with changes in regulations and market pressures moving forward. And here's where things get interesting. Toledo isn't just banking on its past, it's pushing to be relevant in future industries. The shift to EV, solar, advanced manufacturing, health innovation, and site preparation could make or break where Toledo is 10 years from now. The Innovation Hub designation plus larger grants for glass, solar research, and manufacturing, this is all changing how people see Toledo, not just as an old manufacturing town anymore, but a place that could lead in clean energy, advanced materials, and green technology. Another is the arrival expansion of companies like Mobis Battery Assembly, GM's evolving facilities, the revived Spicer Dana building. When old industrial infrastructure gets new purpose, that's a sign that the city is ready to adapt. So the question, will Toledo manage to retain and grow high-paying jobs, stable employer jobs, or will it mostly be lower-wage routine jobs? Much depends on policy, training, local investment, and staying ahead of the curve. So here are some of the big takeaways from what we discussed. Toledo already has several large, stable employers, health systems like ProMedica and Mercy, education like the University of Toledo, automotive and manufacturing like Whirlpool and GM, and public education. These all help to anchor in the region. Newer projects in battery EV, solar, advanced manufacturing, site readiness, revitalization of old buildings, these are promising and they show Toledo is leaning into future industries and trying to get ahead of that curve. Sure, there are risks, including industry disruption, skill gaps, infrastructure readiness, and wage pressures, but many of the growth signals point toward opportunity. There it is. If you're planning to move here or you're evaluating your job prospects, sectors like healthcare, advanced manufacturing, and EV, logistics, distribution, and education are among the safest bets, but not your only options. If you work in those or are willing to get training towards them, Toledo definitely has a lot of upside potential. For long-term value, watch how well the city and the region execute on site preparation, workforce training, and aligning incentives. Those are going to help determine whether these coming employers truly deliver. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on all things Northwest Ohio. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.